Welcome to the Oasis State Podcast. Cheers for tuning in. This podcast is dedicated to educating and empowering women to step into their self-love infused power. As a woman, there are so many nuances that influence our relationship with self. Join me as I share my personal experiences with and deep understanding of mindset development, energetics, and self-mastery. I will help you deconstruct societal conditioning and your own outdated beliefs through a lighthearted, playful lens of perception. I will introduce you to tools that will help you redefine your interaction with life, powerfully manifest your wildest dreams, and enjoy every step along the way. Let this podcast guide and support you as you make the commitment to remember your magic within. This is your self-empowerment pep talk. Hello, gorgeous soul, and welcome back to the Oasis State Podcast. My name is Zoe Rose Carey, and I'm your host. Thank you all for joining me on episode 13 of the podcast. As I kind of do at the start of every episode, I'm going to give you a little life update about myself that you didn't ask for. No, I just feel like it kind of, it can kind of help my personal experiences can help with the message and the themes of these episodes. So it's been a little while since I recorded an episode. It's been a very intense, insular few months for me, for sure. And I've just kind of felt like a little caterpillar in a cocoon, just turning to mush and goo 20 times over and learning how to completely rebuild myself and acquaint myself with the way I see the world now, because, there's particular events in your life that can completely shift the way that you think, feel, interact with life, everything. So that's just what I've kind of been moving through in the last few months. And I'm mentioning this because I haven't been very actively working on podcast episodes or offerings for Oasis State or even showing up on social media that much. And it's just been a big lesson and act of surrender and just understanding that I need to go within sometimes to come back out as my most authentic, aligned self. And if I feel called to share that experience, then I will. So, I'm obviously sat down right now and just started recording this podcast episode. So I did finally feel that feeling to come out of my shell, which is really, really nice. And it was actually because of good old Spotify. This time of year, Spotify releases those Wrapped 2022 sequences, or those little slideshows of your statistics for your music listening purposes or whatever you're doing on Spotify. I'm sure we're all familiar with them. And I just randomly jumped onto my podcast recording app last night just to, check in, because I haven't actually been on the page for maybe weeks, just like I said, just in my own process and just allowing at the moment. And I just randomly went on last night, and there was a little Spotify Wrapped thing for this podcast. And it was just so incredible because I only started this podcast maybe 6 to 8 months ago. It just didn't really occur to me that I would get a little Wrapped thing. And it might be so random for some people, but for me, it was just that absolute jolt of recognition and excitement and inspiration. And it was just so fulfilling to watch the little Wrapped sequence and see, what streams I'm getting on what episodes and what parts of the world and what countries people are tuning in from. And it was just exactly what I needed. It was so humbling and so amazing. And definitely, like I said, jolted a really big wave of anticipation and excitement and inspiration and a sense of creativity to jump back on here and find my voice again. Basically, that's what the last few months has been. I haven't really had a voice, and that's okay. It was more I had to slow down, silence, create a sense of stillness and silence to listen rather than to speak, and to listen within to myself and what was going on, to tend to my inner child, to tend to the unhealed parts of myself that were screaming for love and attention, and to listen to my body, which is always screaming out for our attention and focus and love. So it feels really cool to be jumping back on here and feeling like I found my voice. So Today's episode, we are going to talk about the paradox of using acceptance of our current reality as a means to activate and magnetize the positive change that we are wishing to call in. And for me personally, this concept of accepting where you are now as a means to call in change was quite a paradox for my mind to understand. It was kind of like my mind and my ego was saying to me in response to that this paradox up until kind of really having a few like light bulb moments actually just in the shower before everything just kind of clicked, you know, those kind of moments where you've just been like gestating on like a life lesson or a perception or a belief of yours. And yeah, I find in my process when I do just kind of stick with it and just let it kind of hum in the background. And you know, I'm a huge thinker. Like I think in the spirituality world or in my personal development journey, there's a lot of focus sometimes on rejecting our mind and our thoughts and everything. And I've been kind of in that state of rejection and realizing that I've kind of been cherry picking at myself because I'm like, oh no, I shouldn't overthink, I shouldn't think. And that is a valid statement because if you're overthinking things that are completely out of your control, that's fine. But I was just kind of in the shower before and all these light bulb moments, all these things clicked. And I just had this moment of appreciation I just love this insatiable urge that I have to understand the important things, the deeper things in life, like how we're interacting with life, who we are on an inner level, how we can be our best selves, and how we can really enjoy life from a place of alignment and ease. And yeah, the things that kind of clicked for me just before was this paradox of accepting my current reality and through the means of kind of broadening my perception of what I'm focusing on and realizing that what I'm trying to call in is actually already in my current experience. So yeah, I don't know if that sounds really biggy, but as I'm saying it out loud, I'm like, oh no, yeah, that does make sense. But basically, I just wanted to dive into the energetics of this paradox because my mind used to say to me, like, well, if I'm accepting my current reality, then it's showing the universe that I'm settling and then I'm happy where I am. And then how will I bring in the change? Because, you know, then I'm focusing on the current reality and I just get stuck in these little loops. But I've finally had this shift in realizing that the universe doesn't give a shit about the details of your life. The only thing the universe is focusing on is the energy that you are projecting out into the world. And the energy we're projecting out into the world is influenced by our thoughts and our emotions. So by past versions of me kind of rejecting my current reality and really focusing like so future oriented on bringing in that, you know, abundance, success, purpose, community, whatever I'm focusing on, that I was creating, like by rejecting my current experience, the universe is only interacting with me on an energetic level. And the energy that I was putting out there was one of lack, of frustration, of impatience, and of just say, I'm trying to call in acceptance of rejection. So yeah, it was just kind of like this cool realization. And I just wanted to touch on like the energetic signature that is involved with this practice of accepting your current reality and not just accepting it, feeling deep gratitude and appreciation and excitement for your current reality, because it will literally activate and magnetize the change, the positive change that you're calling into your life, because the universe is only ever interacting with you is a more neutral, positive word, on an energetic level. So here I am in my humanness and my mind, focusing on the details of my life and getting on an energetic signature level depending on the details in my life. Whereas when the details in my current life don't match the future that I'm calling in, of course, my mind and my energetic state goes into a state of anticipation and rejection. Like, no, this isn't what I want yet. Like, I can't get excited because this isn't what I want. But I just wanted to touch on the energetic signature of how the universe interacts, because like I said, it doesn't care about the details of your life. It cares about the energy level that you're at. So that's how this paradox of accepting where you're at is the way to bring in positive change in your life, because we get on that energetic level of acceptance and excitement. And if you're calling in abundance, we already feel abundant. And if you're calling in community, you already feel like a sense of belonging and inclusion. And I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention because I feel like we all can get so caught up in the complexity of life sometimes. And it's actually just about remembering the simplicity of how we're interacting with the universe, which is purely on an energetic level. So this like episode is going to resonate with anyone that is feeling really disorientated and confused and almost a bit impatient with their sense of progress, or, you know, how long it's taking their change to come into their life. And it's an invitation for you to, excuse me, had a cacao before it's coming up. And yeah, so how we can kind of simplify our interaction with life and just get back to focusing on the purity of the energy we're putting out there. So if you're trying to call in a sense of passion in your life, like, oh, I want passion and purpose and all of that, but you're currently in a job that doesn't align with you, you might feel like you might be focusing on all the nitty gritty of that job and be really just stuck in the lack. Whereas if you zoom out your focus on this process of calling in passion, but being in the current job, like that process of jumping from the job to the new passion, you zoom out your focus and realize you already have passion, because your desire to find that sense of fulfillment and bring in that change is your passion right now. So yeah, I hope this is kind of landing, but I'm just really trying to bring home the message, because I've just had this big aha moment, that the power of the present moment, like the simplicity of the present moment, coming back, taking a deep breath, and when you're in the present moment, be existing on a frequency of deep, loving acceptance, unconditional acceptance, and strong, passionate gratitude for every single moment that you're in, is going to so much more effectively move you into that change that you want, and in a more enjoyable way, rather than you kicking and screaming from the shitty job to the passion. Like, how do you think being all sooky and grumpy about the shitty job is going to get you to the passionate, fulfilling, you know, career path that you want to get to, you know? So I suppose I'm just touching on, as I mentioned, like the energetic signature of this paradox of accepting our current reality as a means for positive change. Is just, I'm basically just talking about the law of attraction, which is one of the universal laws. And basically these universal laws are just reminding us how we're interacting with life. Whereas our mind will come in and try and create, like I said, all these conditions and details and complexity to it. But I love the universal laws because it kind of reminds you to just step back, stop taking everything so personally, and get back on track with interacting with life in more alignment. So the law of attraction is simply just the scientific universal law that like attracts like. So that's kind of explaining this energetic signature of, if you're accepting your current reality now and in a great state of acceptance, fulfillment, passion, gratitude, then the universe is going to be like, oh, okay, that's the frequency that they're on. That's the radio station that they're on. So we'll keep playing songs on that radio station, you know? And we can kind of get caught up in the shittier side of this law of attraction. Just say, if you're unaware of these laws, these universal laws, you might have realized you've had days where you wake up and maybe your alarm, you slept through your alarm, and then you kick your toe, and then, you know, you miss your bus for work, etc. And it's kind of like this karmic joke that the universe puts on us, that like, if you're going to start the day on that frequency, then the universe will just keep simply sending you scenarios and situations and interactions that validate that frequency of frustration or impatience or anger that you're on. So that's why it's so important to understand these universal laws, or these, and specifically in this paradox that I'm explaining, because you are always in the driver's seat of your reality, and you are in complete control of everything that's going on. Like, granted, there's obviously situations in life, like I always believe we're co-creating with life, and life is going to step in and take the driver's seat sometimes and send us curveballs, promote change in our lives, like change we're not expecting or ready for, or we experience loss as well. But in those moments, we are still interacting with life, and it is still our responsibility to respond to the scenario, the change, the shift that we're experiencing. So interaction with life on that energetic level is actually quite simple. But if I'm not saying this to be like, oh, duh, it's so simple. Like, we are here for our humanness, and our minds crave complexity. It's simplicity for them is boring. So we crave challenges and complexity and unknowns, etc. So I'm not saying this like, oh, beat yourself up, like life is so simple. It's just this constant, like a lot of life lessons and understandings how we interact with life. We are just always walking ourselves back home to these beautiful, simple truths. So you might listen to this episode and activates that remembrance in you and you're like, oh my God, yeah, it's so simple. But I guarantee you it's not going to last. Like you're going to get back caught in a little process, or you'll be stuck in some healing or transformation or expansion or whatever. And that's what the spiritual experience is about, is that balancing act between working through our humanness and coming back to the simplicity of life. And yeah, I just wanted to record this episode just to remind anyone that's kind of been too stuck in the complexity or too far down that hole of our humanness and stuck in our minds and our egos, etc. Just to activate that remembrance in you guys that life is really simple and we are always interacting with it on an energetic level. So come back to the present moment, take some deep breaths, relax your nervous system, and come back to a state of incredible acceptance and deep gratitude for the exact beautiful moments you're in now, and just sit back and revel in the beautiful magnetism that you will have, and be so in awe of how quickly those positive changes come into your life when you simply just come back to the present moment and focus on the energetic frequency, the radio station you want to be on, just through your emotions, So yeah, I think I'm going to wrap that up there. I hope that landed in one way or another, and whoever needed to hear this is listening to it and it helps you on your journey of expansion and manifestation and alignment. So yeah, thanks so much, guys. It feels really nice to sit back down and itchy eye. Yeah, it feels really incredible to feel like I'm finding my voice again, and to find the energy and the motivation to sit down and record another podcast episode. It gives me so much purpose and excitement. And at the time of recording this episode, it is December 2022. So I definitely feel that energy, that contemplative energy, that reflective energy of the end of the year. And I'm just kind of winding down and really having a look at what I've done this year, but really excited for 2023. And I just can't wait to step back in the driver's seat of Oasis State and this podcast and my offerings, and yeah, just start doing it all. All right, I'm losing my words, so I'm going to jump off. Thank you so much for listening, guys. All the love and the light to you until the next episode. Okay, bye.